Hello and welcome to St Luke's Church in Crosby. We're here today because we've reopened the church. We're open for prayer between 2 and 4 in the afternoon on Sundays and between 10 and 12 in the morning on Thursdays. We've got a prayer trail set up inside, so we're going to walk through that, and hopefully even if you can't come down to church to join us, you can pray at home using this video. I hope that helps you to connect with God and to bring your prayers for this world to God in this troubled time. Thank you and enjoy this video. So this is the welcome area of church, and we have here a board that tells you a little bit about our church. So once we've welcomed people into church, we then move through into the main body of the church, following the trail that's laid out. And here we have some information about our mission partners, so you could pray for each of our mission partners. They come from a variety of places, both locally and across this world. We also collect for our South Sefton local food bank, and food can be left here at any time when we're open. One of the most important aspects of life in recent months has been healthcare. So we've got some information about healthcare and hospitals in our local area, and would ask that you pray for those who work in our hospitals and the healthcare system across the whole board: care homes, nursing homes, hospices, those who are needing care at home as well. So please do join with us in prayer for our healthcare system, for the resources for it, and for all the strength needed by the individual staff working across the board. As we move into the body of the church, you can see that we've used chairs to help set out a trail. And this next board is to do with education. Schools have been off for the last several months and only open for those who are key worker children. So it's great to have been able to reopen our local schools for years 1 and 6 and reception in this last week. So we have a little bit of information about education and some pointers for prayer, as well as some pictures of our local schools. Our church's primary school is St Luke's Housel, and I'd ask that you pray especially for that, for the head teachers and the staff, as we remember them and all that they have to face day by day. Our world across the whole globe has been affected by this dreadful pandemic. So again here there's some calls for prayer for various aspects of the world. whether that's national leaders and governments trying to make decisions, whether it's the financial systems and health systems in each of the different countries, whether that's the scientific research that's needed to develop vaccines and cure, whether it's climate change and how the pandemic has affected our natural world and all that makes that up, the beautiful world that God has given us. So do please pray for our world. The Bible tells us to pray without ceasing. So hold the world in prayer in all the variety of ways that it's needed as you watch the news and think about what's going on. And we follow the trail round the corner to our next board. And that's on the local community, our local community of Crosby. So we have a map of Crosby and various images which will be familiar to those of you who know the village. We need to pray for our businesses, for those who live here, for those who are out and about and those who can't be. We need to pray for the various events. I've also put some information up about our ecumenical church community. We are a community of churches, not just one church by itself. We fit in with the others. So do pray not just for St. Luke's Church, but for all our churches. Financially and pastorally, churches along with the rest of the community have been through a hard time. So do pray for your church. Please pray for this church and pray for the community as a whole. As we keep moving through, there's a board here, and We will remember the Black Lives Matter protests that have been going on across various parts of the world, originating in the United States. Black lives do matter. Jesus was born in Bethlehem. He wasn't born in Britain or Europe. He was not white, he was black. And we need to remember that Black lives matter, as does every life. So who would you struggle to worship with? Who doesn't matter to you as much as others? Let's make a difference to our world by bringing those who are often discriminated against to God and ask for his healing for all people. As we move forward to the next station, we come to one about the cross. The cross is at the heart of Christian life. It is a symbol that is to do with love, to do with sacrifice, to do with the giving of ourselves for others as Jesus gave himself for us. Maybe take some time to reflect on what the cross means for you, on what the cross means for this world, on what the cross means for those who've been so significantly affected by the pandemic. In this station, we give people the opportunity to make a paper cross, a St. Bridget's cross. You can look up the instructions on the internet and maybe make your own, either out of coloured strips or any strip of paper that you want to use. Maybe keep that as a way of reflecting on the cross in your own times of devotion. Moving forward, we move on to a station about peace. The dove is often used as a symbol of peace. So we invite people to reflect on what peace means. We invite people to reflect on where peace is needed in this world, and to then hang a dove onto the tree so that their prayers of peace can be offered and left here for God. We move up to the sanctuary, towards the area where we often remember the sacrifice of God in communion with the cross hanging above here. You can invite people to take a small candle and to light it using this large one. And then just to place it on the stand, maybe say a prayer in remembrance of someone who they've lost or something that they've grieved and miss over this time. A prayer to bring loss and remembrance back to God. And then we also have a board to do with rejoicing, because even as we remember and maybe lament the things that we have lost, there were also things that people have spoke about rejoicing. Times of quiet and peace, times when wildlife seems to have been rejuvenated. So I wonder what has brought you joy and gladness in the last few months. Maybe write those things down and maybe say a prayer of thanksgiving to God for those things. And as we leave church, we move past the font. This is the place where we still today baptise children and adults into the Christian faith. You may well have been baptised as a small child. And if you were, and even if you aren't, you can still remember that we live for Jesus day by day, that we are called to love God first and to love others as ourselves. So as we leave this time of prayer now, please do keep praying. Pray without ceasing, and remember that as you live to reflect Jesus into this world. Thank you for praying. Goodbye.